All right, thank you. Sir.
Thanks, sir, for joining us today. Jeff Wood from Northrop Grumman. How will the proliferation of adversary DE weapons change the deterrence framework?
I'm sorry, you broke up in the middle.
How will the proliferation of adversary DE weapons change the deterrence framework, and then when do you think it will begin to significantly affect that framework?
So directed energy is an interesting challenge. I think directed energy has a huge potential on the missile defense side. By its very nature, though, if you get to a directed energy capability that can reach out into space, it could change the space dynamic as well. I had a boss once who was the Secretary of the Air Force that I went into a meeting with him, and it was on directed energy, and the person that was briefing him started briefing on this specific directed energy technology, and I'll just say he was selling it real hard, and the Secretary said, "Stop. Wait a second. I want you to look me in the eye. Imagine a neon sign on my head that says, in the entire history of the Department of Defense, there's never been a directed energy system that worked. Now, start again." But we're getting close. We're getting close to where that technology is going to be, and it's going to work. And I think it is going to change the defensive structure a lot. It's going to change the defensive structure because I think it's going to move the opportunity to intercept further to the left. If you look at Patriot, that's very terminal. THAAD, first word is terminal. If you look at GBIs still are in the kind of latter half at best of the mission. The further you can push it back, the better you are. And the day you can actually shoot a missile down over somebody's head and have that thing drop back on their head, that'll be a good day, because as soon as you drop it back on their head, that's the last one they're going to launch, especially if there's something nasty on top of it. And I think directed energy brings that to bear. But we have to worry about what that means to our capabilities as well. So anytime a new technology comes online, you have to look at the pros and the cons. I believe the pros in this case very much outweigh the cons because of how our systems are structured, how they're deployed, and where they work. But there's a lot of work to be done in directed energy to make sure we understand what the threat is going to be, how to respond to that threat, and then how to use that capabilities to our advantage. And I think we can do that, and we can do that in a way that can keep us ahead of our adversaries. But again, it goes back to the threat-based approach to looking at it. It's not just the capability. If you look at a capabilities-based approach, we're going to be looking at directed energy and doing all kinds of fancy stuff. Let's look at it from a threat. What is the threat? And that threat requires a certain capability to respond to it. Part of that threat is a missile threat against us that we could use directed energy against, but part of that is a directed energy capability that's going to be used against us. So we have to figure out how to counter both of those. And a threat-based approach to analysis is so needed right now, and we've got to get away from a little bit of the capabilities will always dominate every answer. Okay?